Ni hao, hoi mi, and welcome to Wapipod series. We're very excited to be here with one of our directors, our Asia director. And what's interesting about Wapi is we have a lot of duplications, a lot of two names. I don't know if it's because we have twins as founders, but our Asia director is with me here. His name is Edward He, but it's pronounced He. We also have a bunch of other. We have like two Brians, maybe three, two Angies, two Alexes. So we have a couple of double names, and we're very proud here to be joined by Edward, my namesake, myself, Edward or Eddie, co-founder and CEO of Wapipay. Welcome, Edward.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
We'll start off with tell us three things, Edward, that about China that a lot of Africans or Kenyans don't know. Just three things, and then you can tell us three things about yourself that we don't know.
Absolutely. So China, I believe most people have heard about China from the internet, but maybe very few people actually travel to China to know the modernized cities in China. So China, basically, if I want to say, three keywords, the first one is that ancient. China has long histories, even over 5,000 years. And through the long histories, we have built up the really good relationships for the rest of the world. So that's why China always wants to be modest and also friendly to our neighbors and our friends all over the world. The second keyword is modernization. China has developed so fast and rapidly in the last 40 years, especially for our capital city, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and of course, Hong Kong and Macau. And then, so a lot of cities have been into a modernization, urbanization. People now getting used to new ways of lifestyle, with the new ways of accepting that the city landscapes. And amongst all the new changes, that the payments and the way how people to send their money to each other and how people to pay for their grocery items and the way they how to shop online is totally changed from cash-based now to purely digital. And then the third keyword I will say is that China is very open up. So China is very now welcoming all the tourists coming from different worlds. And welcome to China, and welcome to see for yourself.
That's fantastic. I remember it's interesting you've said there's been a lot of growth in China, and I think the last 30 years or 35 years have been the fastest. And it's not just infrastructure,
right,
but digital payments. And I think when I was in China last year and we were together, I was walking around with dollars, and we kept leaving restaurants because they wouldn't accept cash.
Yeah.
Why is this? Why couldn't they accept cash? And what is the only option to make a payment? Because even reading the menu,
right,
there is no menu. So there's no one giving you a menu. You sit down and you have to use an app to read the menu, and they will not accept cash. And we're talking about not just a few 100 million people. We're talking about 1.4 billion people. Right? Tell us a bit about that and how that has changed. I can imagine the social interaction and the social nature of the country.
Absolutely. In fact, first of all, China is still accepting cash. Cash is still the legal currency in China, and no one is refusing to accept cash. However, in fact, now people are getting used to digital payments because it's very convenient for them, just taking their phone and maybe possibly power bank with them together, and then they can use their phone to pay everything, including restaurants, coffee shops, and shopping centers, etc. And the way why people getting into this new habit from cash-based transaction is that the fintech companies such as Tencent Holdings, who has the product of WeChat and WeChat Pay, and Alibaba Group, who has the product of Alipay, they are dominating the digital payments in China. And as a fintech company themselves, they have played a very significant impact over the lifestyle. They give the discounts and to consumers to let them to download the app, and they also give the discounts to merchants to make them to give them incentives to help to actually let them earn much more than the product itself. So through the advertising and incentives, and also the way they promoted themselves, more people are getting used to the digital payment lifestyle, and now it totally become digital and paperless,
Yes.
which is environmental friendly, and we hope through the impact of fintech, just like Wapipay, we could play a significant role between the trade from Kenya and China, and also to give people the alternative option that you do not have to bring bunch of cash with you all the time. You have always a digital option. You can go without a fear to pay anything that you like.
That's fantastic. And I think a lot of people, I've been very fortunate to travel to China, and we've hung out in China a number of times, even before you became our director at Wapipay. A lot of people think WeChat is just for payments, but the reality is it's one super app that you can do absolutely everything. It's your social media, it's your of course digital wallet, of ability to do digital payments. It's your channel to be able to access other applications of other platforms, not just WeChat platform itself, with people being able to build mini programs, just like what Wapipay is doing, building a mini program for within WeChat. So it's not just really about digital payments, but the entire life cycle and lifestyle of Chinese being revolved around this one platform. What's that experience about? And maybe just to comment, it's not just WeChat, it's also Alipay, and there's many other platforms. What is that like socially, to revolve everything around your world into one application, from chat to making orders online, to ordering in a restaurant, to paying taxes, to paying for rent, etc.?
Well, that's really good question. Well, the truth is, with a super app, just like WeChat or Alipay, you have really the convenient life you can ever imagine. So just like when you wake up, and with your phone and one single app, you can do everything you want on your daily basis. The app itself has become part of your life. And whenever you want to go with your friends to have meals outside, you can use your phone to pay. If you want to go after work to watch movies, you can use your phone and this single app to book your movie tickets. And if you want to go to other cities, or if you want to travel abroad, you can use the app to book your hotel rooms and flight tickets or train tickets. It's so convenient because you don't have to look around other apps and look around other platforms to get your tickets, to make a schedule. And so that's why, we say, for most of Chinese people now, they have make this app and this kind of lifestyle become part of their life. And they really enjoy it. And we enjoy the digital payments way. And of course, we hope to open up this experience to the tourists coming from abroad. So that is why we are now thinking, hope to work with more open platforms such as Wapipay, and to connect people coming from Kenya when they visit China. They also can share the similar experience.
Yeah. And that's interesting. You said now the connection between China and Africa, and more so even Kenya. And maybe that's where Wapipay comes in. What do you think is the relationship between Africa and China, and mostly Asia, and why is there this relationship? The question is bringing in the relationship between China and Africa, what I would call the global South, where South-South relationship.
Yes.
And why do you think this relationship is growing between China, Asia, and Africa or Kenya? And why is it necessary?
I think the relationship is very important and significant between the global South countries. It's because we share so much things in common.
That's correct.
That we are also resourceful from the agricultural sector, and we wanted to make our nations to be more modernized, and we wanted to increase the well-being of our ordinary families. So that is why China is just looking for a way for itself, but also to build up a sample for other countries in Africa, and to find your own customized ways to grow the nation and to develop the cities. And to be more specific, China has also suffered a lot of pain during this transition of becoming modernization. We have no accurate experience to follow, and we do not have the golden sample to follow. So that is why we wanted to encourage innovations. That is why we believe in Kenya and in other countries, innovation is the key. Then to allow people to think out of the box, and to think of new ways to solve the problems. And then it's the support from the government, right? So Chinese government support the development of infrastructure projects and to increase the life-being situations of people. And for example, like healthcare and education, and also that take care of people's job, and so you increase more job opportunities. So all these, I believe, are the same important sectors for countries like Kenya, and to follow and to have your own ways of development.
And that's interesting what you said about being able to improve the lives of the people, being able to improve education, healthcare. It's really very similar to Africa, what we're trying to do, trying to bring people out of poverty and have a better living standard. And what's interesting is scarcity, we like to say, breeds creativity or innovation. When you lack something, you become very creative and work very hard to be able to provide it or develop it for your people. So, and I see those similarities between global South with global South, South, Asia, China with Kenya and Africa. What's interesting though, and maybe we can get into the bridge that is Wapipay. We call it the bridge of trust. Yes, the bridge of trust between Asia and Africa, and more so Kenya, China. But the way the macroeconomic is designed is that most African countries are net importers, and a lot of importation happens into the continent, and largely because we don't manufacture as well as in Asia or China. And it's interesting how China has evolved and moved from scarcity to creativity and abundance by just really working very hard and being very good at manufacturing. And we now know it's not just about producing cheap goods, it's the skills that were developed in China to be able to do better tooling and better creation and development of goods and services. So Africa eventually ends up having to import a lot more from China. What do you think about this trade relationship between Africa and Asia?
Yes. So I think, well, the fact is now why most of African countries they import more from China than China imports from Africa is that it's basically China now we have established the whole set of supply chain and to have better efficiency of controlling the cost of raw materials. However, we are willing to work with the African countries, like say Kenya, together. For example, we can encourage some manufacturers to start factories here in Kenya, and because you also have well-educated managers and workers, and then we can share the experience and share the markets together. And besides the items of trading, that on the software part we can work together. For example, like say for the AI industry, and we can set up the team to allow the researchers from Kenya and China together to think of the revolutionary technologies of AI, and then we can also think of the software developments of like say digital payments such as Wapipay to be a trusted bridge. So then we can bring more talented people to work on the software part, and then to transfer this technology and the wisdom to empower the sectors and industries in Kenya to make them more efficient, and also then to increase the output of different industries. So I think beyond the trade relationships, we still have a lot of things can work together, including the software developments and the joint research centers and the joint investments for infrastructures, and also the healthcare and education together. So as of the trade, I believe in the long run, that China also needs a lot of products from Kenya. Like as far as I know, the Kenya black tea and the Kenya coffee beans are so famous, and not only to Chinese people but to the world. So, and we also wanted to invite more Kenya products to be exported to China because people love it. I think one way that how we can increase this volume of trade is that we need more Kenya presence, more Kenya companies that to tell the Kenya stories in China. And I believe Wapipay can take the role in a leading function to share the Kenya stories to Chinese consumers, to let them know we have more products available that to be shared to the Chinese people.
And this is very interesting, because how do you connect 1 billion people with another billion people? One market with another market. And the interesting thing is what we see when you sit in China, you have a lot of manufacturers, a lot of sellers.
Yes.
Trying to access markets. And then we here, what we see with small businesses is a lot of a very big market of businesses trying to source suppliers. And we see the disconnect, and this is pretty interesting. We were discussing it yesterday.
Yes.
So we sit here and think the businesses are struggling to access the suppliers, and when you're there, you see the suppliers struggling to access the sellers or the markets to buy the goods and services. What do you think of this interesting dichotomy?
Well, actually, this is a really good question because, to my view, this is basically the situation we are facing, and this is dilemma we try to solve. But the key point is trust, because given the long distance between Africa and China, and people may not be able to know the partner they are dealing with. So the trust issue may, to increase the difficulties and the surprising challenges for them to reach an agreement. So that is why I believe the trust issue is the first thing we need to solve. And how can we solve the trust issue? I can give you a quick example here of the story of Alipay. So at the very beginning of the 90s of last century, when Alibaba Group launched, and then when they promoted this online shopping, at that time, very few people know the online or e-commerce platform, because and they don't believe the sellers from the internet because they cannot see them, they cannot see the products. They are afraid if they paid out the money, they could not receive the goods. So Alibaba Group has noticed this issue. So then they launched their payment tool, which is now called Alipay.
Alipay.
And Alibaba Group said, okay, for the consumers, if you want to buy anything from my e-commerce platform, your payments will go to my payment platform first. And then only after the merchant deliver the goods at your doorstep, then my platform, the Alipay platform, will release the funds to the merchants. And through this way, Alibaba Group and Alipay solved the trust issues. Consumer no longer afraid their funds goes to someone strangers without receiving the goods. And merchants are guaranteed to receive the funds if they deliver the goods. So I believe between Africa and China, especially Kenya and China, I believe Wapipay can serve as this important role to solve the trust issues. Not only that, Wapipay can deal with the transactions, we can have more, presence and storytelling and offline offline advertisements to let the people in Kenya and the manufacturers in China to know, okay, there's a trusted platform that the seller from China, when they deliver goods, they will receive the funds. And for the buyers in Kenya, for example, when they give the funds to be handled by Wapipay platform, and then their funds will definitely be guaranteed for safe place, and will be directly to the manufacturer's account after they deliver the goods. After the goods delivered.
Yes. And I like this conversation we're having, that we always have, I think, about being able to be that trust layer, or that trust bridge, or that trust platform, as Wapipay. And I think the other part that people, I do know, I said Africa is a net importer, but the other interesting conversation we have is, look, China is now technically a middle class, huge country and big market of up to 1.4 billion people. How do we allow Africans to sell their products to this very big market? And then, because the debate has been about the trade deficit.
Yes. And
the trade deficit is because we believe Kenya and Africa really needed the support for infrastructure and goods and services for trade because of low employment, etc., etc. But now what's interesting that's not being told is, look, there is a very mature, developed market in China with over 1 billion people who are largely out of poverty and into middle class and can access the ability to buy goods and products from Africa.
Yes.
What do you think about this, and how do you think Wapi can do this as a trust platform?
Absolutely. So, in fact, Chinese consumers, they love the products, from the world, and especially for the handcrafted and the gifts and your local agricultural food and the local specialties. So, for Kenya products and Kenya manufacturers or products that are from Kenya that are to be sold in the Chinese markets, that's very promising. And the way, to my view, is very simple. So Wapipay, we definitely can launch the video streaming function that we can even to get a team, local team, grounding team that in China, and through Wapipay platform and our video streaming to broadcasting the Kenya products. And the Chinese consumer will see And because it's a real-time broadcasting, they can ask questions, and the broadcaster can share the stories about the products. So we, in that way, we enable the products not only as the item itself, we give the meaning and the background of the products. We can tell people why this, Kenyan black tea is so famous, why the coffee bean is so famous, and how farmers they typically, to plant these coffee beans. You share the stories and you share some history about the products. A lot of consumers they really love these stories shared by the original seller, and the way why for many Chinese consumers, in China now we have a lot of video streaming platforms. However, most of broadcasters they are still Chinese, and probably they do not have the knowledge to tell the consumer of the meaning or background of the products they're promoting. So somehow the consumers are not really getting to know, okay, what is the key features of the products.
Yes.
So the way we can solve this is that we can definitely build up a local grounding team and under a Wapi platform. And if they like the products, we broadcast it. They can directly place the orders, and products will be delivered from Kenya and to China to there. And the good thing is that we already solved the payment part. You can directly and to pay to Wapi, and the Wapi will take care of the transactions, then to get the coffee beans or other products from Kenya to there.
Fantastic. And that's where the hard work is, and being able to develop where two different markets speak two different, first of all, there's too many currencies across Africa, speak very many different languages, very, very different backgrounds and cultures, but also very similar in how we're trying to attack development. And I think it would be interesting, or it's going to be a very interesting journey for Wapipay in developing this platform to help Kenyans and Africans access this billion market. The other thing is, and you've said two technologies that are really interesting. One is AI, and we know the amount of skills that Chinese have and have quickly developed all the way into tooling, and now into software and being able to develop AI. We know what happened with DeepSeek, and how do we transfer that knowledge from China and possibly even that hard work into Kenya, into Kenya and Africa, and learn from it, and be able to join our development journey. But I have to mention, you also mentioned, other than software AI, broadcasting.
Yes.
How in China people are able to attract a market, and it's of course through social media and these amazing social media platforms and online commerce platforms, from Douyin to Aliyun and all those platforms, to be able to largely not go buy things physically, but be able to buy things online. And I know we saw in the most recent news the tariff wars, and we have to talk about this between US and China. And we saw Chinese manufacturers and sellers use broadcasting into TikTok from Douyin to be able to sell, to demonstrate how actually these products are made, from luxury goods to goods that people think or thought were being made elsewhere. So broadcasting is a very interesting way of how people in China are able to sell goods and services and attract for goods and services. What's your take on and that came out from the fight between US and China for tariff. Tariff is actually an Arabic word. It's a beautiful word, but the interesting thing is, it went all the way up to 154%. I think now there's a negotiation between US and China to
Yes.
bring that down to 115%.
Mhm.
So two-part question. Do you think these tariffs change the supply chain
Mhm.
of goods and services from the global south to the global west, and the opportunities for Africa sitting in the global south to also equally be a way station
Mhm.
for these goods and services in this supply chain? Is this something of a possibility? And how do you see this tariff whirlwind that is going on?
Yes. Well, just as we speaking, China and the U.S., I believe, already reached agreements to reduce the tariff to the normal level. I believe, from the news I read, they have reached agreements that reduced 95% of the tariff they have imposed, and then both parties agreed to reduce 95%, and they even give the guarantee period to allow some essential products going to the U.S. markets for the tax exempt periods. So I think this is a good sign. Both governments trying to solve the problem, but tariff itself, it has been there for many years.
Yes.
And for Chinese manufacturers, I believe they're always looking for the variety of the customer base. U.S. definitely is important market. We're also looking for the opportunities to expand to other markets, because we understand, the Chinese products can be popular if we have, the good quality and the good price to satisfy the needs of the customers, from Middle East and Africa as well. But to me, tariff is not a permanent topic. It's a dynamic situation, and always these issues can be solved through the negotiation and conversations from government to government. However, what is more important that between the seller and the buyer, especially you just mentioned about the broadcasting channel, is that, to my view, for a broadcaster to promote the product to a potential audience, the consumers, two things I believe are most important. The first thing is the product itself. The products can catch the eyes of consumers to make them, oh, this is the product I want. However, the second important key is that the way how it was presented by the broadcaster.
Yes.
Is to catch the heart of the consumers. Once you can catch the eyes and hearts of consumers, the deal already made. So that's why I believe through the way of Wapi broadcasting, we share the background and the meaning of the products is to catch both the eyes and hearts of the consumers from China.
Yeah. And do the broadcasters have to speak in Mandarin?
I don't think
learn Mandarin.
I don't think this would be a must option to go. The broadcaster can speak the native tongue, and of course we can have the interpreter to assist with the language interpretation. And if the broadcaster can speak the local language, like say a little bit Mandarin, that would be even better. That for you to to get most of the attraction from the Chinese consumers.
Now, this would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as you know, we at Wapipay, we're solving the digital payments or payments rail between Africa and China. We recently, as you know, integrated to Tencent remittance services, TRS, or what they call Tenpay, which is a WeChat product for remittances. And this is exciting for us, and seeing how to grow that from consumers or small businesses here in Kenya, being able to use the Wapipay app, download the Wapipay app, and being able to pay directly from Kenya shillings to yuan in China to a supplier via the WeChat rails. And as you would know, we were the first ones to build the M-Pesa to WeChat, WeChat to M-Pesa gateway. But we've evolved from that, because it used to be red packets, then Then we went to salary processing. Now we're able to do P2P via TRS. So we want to demonstrate to our fans,
Absolutely. Let's
to
show
our
how it
potential
works.
customers, exactly how this works.
Yes.
So I'm going to log in
Mm-hmm.
to Wapipay. How much am I sending? I'm already sending you too much money.
Yes.
Too much money, Edward.
So I'm already a rich guy already. By the way, that you do all these remittance.
I need to find somebody else to send money other
Okay.
than you. So I'm logging into Wapipay.
Yes. Very simple to find out the login.
And then I'll finish the transaction, and then he'll get onto his WeChat, and he'll be able to see the credit transaction in 30 to 45 seconds. So we'll just quickly do that. The exchange rate today is 1769, as you can see. So for one CNY, you get 1769. You need 1769 shillings for one CNY. So I'm sending him
Maybe
200 CNY.
that would be a huge amount. Maybe 2 RMB for testing. We don't have to sacrifice that much amount in a
No, when
single
I'm in China, I know you'll give me back the money. You'll pay for dinner.
Definitely, I will do that.
And then you have the option there to select WeChat. And then I'll choose a recipient. I have him there saved as a recipient. I put the reason. I put personal remittance. I put the source, it's from my salary, and a slight message saying welcome back to Nairobi. And then I'll agree to terms and conditions. I think we're okay. And boom. We go back to
Really exciting.
my list of transactions. And you can see that, don't look at my balances, I've sent it to Edward. Ha, the HE.
That's me.
And then you can show them how it looks in Chinese.
Yes,
the one
yes.
that you've just received.
Yes, it's very fast and just arrived. So here, I have received the funds from Wapipay, right here. Okay? So it just only takes about
30 to
30
45
seconds.
yeah.
Yes.
And there you have it. Wapipay, where in the world do you pay? We're very excited to have, I think you're in Kenya for a week.
Yes.
Visiting us, and then it's back to work to try and continue building this trust.
Absolutely.
This trust bridge and platform. There's a lot of work. A lot of people think it's very natural to go into a strange market and build a nice platform and expect customers to come. But in China, as you've explained, it works very different. You have to market make and make people come to your platform, and that's an exciting journey for us. Any comments you want to make as we close out?
Absolutely. So I think Wapipay is already integrated with WeChat platform as just we demonstrated. So that gives the confidence to most people that who are already familiar with WeChat Pay. So that's the thing they believe. It doesn't matter where they're in China or Kenya, they can always trust their Wapipay for their remittance they're making. And besides that, in China, because we are now building up the grounding team and to attract more Chinese consumers, very soon they will download the Wapipay and they will share the experience with their families and friends, and to use Wapipay as a trusted tool, and not only for the payment itself, but the lifestyle they are going to experience in Kenya.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Edward. That was Edward and Edward from Wapipay. Like I told you, we have a duplication of names in Wapipay. Very excited about our China payouts. Remember to download Wapipay Global from both iOS and Play Store, and you'll be able to send money to also Uganda and to Nigeria and many other markets coming up. This has been the Wapipod series, and thanks for listening to us.
Thanks for listening. Welcome to the Eddie Club.
The Eddie Club.
Okay?
All right.